Yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, dai 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 dai.
Shabbat Shalom, my friends. See you here this late Friday afternoon. The sun going down so late, an odd time to go into Shabbat, but I love it. I love the late evenings, and I love that we begin with Shalom Aleichem. You'll find it on page 24 in your Sidurim.
Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh, 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 Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. Boahem leshalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh, 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 Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Mimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh,
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 Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu.
Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech,
Mimelech,
Malachei Hamlachim, Hakadosh,
Hakadosh,
with Lecha Dodi. You'll find it on page 20. Please remain standing through the Baruch Hu, but together we offer the words of condolence and consolation to those in our midst who are in mourning. Hamakom yinachem etem b'toch sheyar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort all those who mourn in Zion and in Jerusalem. We continue with the Baruch Hu, page 28.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvituna mishaneh eitim, ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו.
חושך מפני אור, בורא יום ולילה, גורל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו.
אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני.
ברכו ברוך שמו. אמן. Baruch Shem Kevod, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתן לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Cantor Lamb, before we continue with the Michamocha, this is a real reunion of sorts. This is a real special moment.
Nice to see you again.
No, not just you and I. No. But we have, as I was saying before, two Sarahs and a Barbie here. But this is not just. Do you want to share a moment? There's a little history here that's beautiful.
So on this very bima, for about 10 or 12 years, we had, how old were you when you started?
8.
8. How old were you?
9.
9. 8 or 9. You were 7.
I remember you.
I was 4. And so we had this group, and every single Friday night, there was approximately 20 to 25 young people standing on this bima, singing the service just as they're doing right now. So each one of these grown, beautiful ladies are here tonight. They come to service quite often. Barbie lives in San Francisco and works at Temple Emmanuel. Sarah Gurian works here and does things for us here. And Sarah Anderson is going to leave to go to cantorial school. She's in Hebrew Union College, and she leaves next month for her 5-year sentence. I mean, her 5-year 5-year studies. So it's such a fantastic thing. It's just, you can see how, how light it is and how wonderful it is to have. It brings back a lot of good memories. So,
Thank you.
we're having fun?
Yes.
Okay.
We are having fun.
Yes, okay.
You guys are having fun.
And so many people in the cantorial world, are where they are because of Cantor Lamb and the influences he's had on them. These are just 3 examples of the people in the Jewish world who are working not only here, but around the country and elsewhere. And then also we have a very special guest actually revisiting here. One of our rabbis, you all remember Rabbi Rabashah, I know many of you do. Ilana Rabashah is over here, sitting in the corner because Rabbi Rabashah was here, Ilana, for how many years? 13 years, 14 years? Right, so Ilana grew up here with Jacob, her brother, and her mother Laura, and even when Rabbi Rabashah was on the pulpit, your family used to always sit right over there on that side, and Ilana just returned from her first year back from rabbinical school in Jerusalem. So this place not only does great things for all of us, it does great things for the future, and it makes it particularly meaningful to all of us who share this pulpit to see the future coming out of Stephen Wise Temple. So this is very, very special. So with that in mind, we'll go back to the past with the Micha Mocha. You'll find it on page 40.
Yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 mi chamocha bailim Adonai mi kamocha nedar bakodesh dorat eilot o seifele מלכותך ראו בניך, וכי הים לפני משה ומרים, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. זה אנו ואמרו, אדוני מלוך, לעולם לעולם ועד. ידה די 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 ידה די 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 ונאמר קרני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל. Yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 yada dai 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 dai. Amen.
Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, leshalom, v'ha'amidenu, malkeinu, lechaim, ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha, v'takneinu beitza tova milfanecha, v'hoshienu leman shemecha, v'hoshienu ve'agen ba'adeinu, ve'aser me'aleinu oyev, dever ve'cheref ve'ra'av ve'yagon, ve'aser satan milfaneinu, milfaneinu me'achareinu. Ashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, leshalom, v'ha'amidenu, malkeinu, lechaim, ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha, v'takneinu beitza tova milfanecha, v'hoshienu leman shemecha, v'hoshienu ve'agen ba'adeinu. ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, כי אל שומרנו ומצילנו אתה. כי אל מלך חנון, חנון ורחום אתה. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום.
find the Misha Berach, the prayer for those in need of healing, on page 253 in the middle of the page.
Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say
Opportunity for silent prayer, silent devotion. You'll find the Amidah, pages 46 through 62. We ask that you rise when your prayers are completed. Please be seated. Pages 46 through 62. page 258, prayer for the United States. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Avinu Shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael Golo, Barechet Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Smichat Geulateinu.
Together, O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Let us say Amen.
Avinu Shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael Goalo. Amen. Selah. Amen. Selah.
Shabbat Shalom, my friends. As you know, this Sunday is Father's Day. And it's a day when we honor our fathers, but it's not just honoring fathers, of course, it's a celebration of fatherhood. It's the celebration of the bonds we have had or have had with our Father. It's a day to even go further, to recognize the influence of fathers on society. And in addition to everything that we generally appreciate about our fathers, there's one important thing that happens as I think we get older and often as we become parents ourselves. We more and more appreciate the sacrifice fathers and, of course, mothers do for their children. It's a sacrifice to be a parent. They do so out of love, they do so out of dedication, and they do so out of obligation. Keep that thought in mind for a second. Summer is a time I know for a lot of people to travel. So I have a suggestion. If you happen to be fortunate enough to do so and travel to another state, or in particular to another country, and if you're there on a Shabbat morning, visit the synagogue, or even on a Friday night if they have a service, and experience their service. But even if you go on a weekday and there's not a service on that particular weekday, you'll find a lot of differences in both the physical look and the structure of the different synagogues you attend. For example, in some you may find the bima in the middle of the temple, others you find at the front. In some cases, the rabbi and the cantor face the congregation. In some, they may face the ark. In some synagogues, of course, men and women pray together. And in others, you'll find that there's a mechitza, they're separate. Some synagogues have permanent seats, others may have movable seats. But there's one thing you'll find in every synagogue that you go to, from ancient to modern, conservative, Orthodox, or Reform. mentioned this before. Do you know the one thing you'll find in every synagogue in the world? You'll find a ner Tamid. You'll find an eternal light. Now, ours here at Stephen Wise Temple is that red light. Not so red, you can't see it. It's that sort of auburn light, orange light, that is above the Aron Kodesh, above our ark. The origin of our light, literally, by the way, ner Tamid means eternal fire. It comes from the Torah. In Exodus it says, "You shall command the children of Israel to bring you clear oil of beaten olives for lighting, for kindling lamps regularly." And then later we're told, "It shall be due from the Israelites for all time, throughout the generations." It's meant to represent the menorah of the temple in Jerusalem, but of course it symbolizes something even greater. It symbolizes God's eternal presence. And it begs us to ask ourselves, do we Jews today have a ner Tamid, a flame, a passion, a fire for God and for Judaism? And what are we willing to show and sacrifice for that passion and that love? The words that we just chanted together that follow the Shema, the Ve'achavta, and you shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And then later on in the paragraph it says, you shall teach them diligently to your children, or you shall instruct them. You know, the order of that paragraph is very telling. First is the commandment to love God with everything we have, with our heart, with our soul, and with all our might. To have a passion for God, to have a fire for God. Then we teach our children. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel tells the story of a man who was an apprentice to a blacksmith. He learned the trade so well that eventually he took over the shop. But his customers ultimately left him. So he asks his rabbi, why? And the rabbi responded, "My child, you've learned your trade well. You can forge the metal. You can strike the anvil correctly. You know how to use the hammer, but you've not learned how to kindle the spark." We all need to have that spark. One of the great differences, I believe, between the centuries of Jews who lived before us and the Jews of today is that in prior centuries, Jews overwhelmingly lived committed Jewish lives, mostly without question. They may not have always understood everything that they did, although they did tend to study to have a deeper understanding, but they lived Judaism, and often, by the way, under very difficult circumstances. Why did they do that? Because partially they felt commanded to do so, and in good part because they had a fire. But starting in the last couple of generations of Jews, the opposite began to occur. With some exceptions, the generation said, why? Why should I live a Jewish life? This generation is saying that. Show me, convince me, then maybe I will live it. And by the way, these are reasonable questions. They are fair questions. They're good questions. And I'll tell you, in all candor, I asked those questions. And I'm really glad that I did. You know, there's many roles for a rabbi today, and it's true for a cantor as well. But one that is critical that we share is we need to light the fire. But it's not just our role as clergy. It's your role as a mother or a father or a grandparent. And after it's lit, it's up to all of us to sustain it. How do we do that? How do we light that fire and keep it lit? I have a lot of thoughts. I devoted much of my rabbinate to that. But for the moment, I'll simply say this. To have that fire, that passion for God and for Judaism, we need to ask ourselves, what role does God and Judaism play in our lives every day? Too often we call on Judaism and we call on God when we feel the need to do so. We want a rabbi and or a cantor to perform our wedding, and we want a rabbi and or a cantor at a Jewish funeral. By the way, that's good. We turn to God at difficult moments, and that's good. But if we're going to have a fire within, you just don't light it at the moment you want it. God and Judaism need to be a central part of our daily lives, not something we just dust off on a special occasion. And here's an even deeper question. What are we willing to sacrifice for our faith, for our Judaism? Judaism is a beautiful religion. Judaism loves life. It's joyful, it's positive, it's elevated, and that's the message I want to share with everybody. None of us today are asked to give our lives for Judaism, certainly not American Jews. But there were so many times in our history where Jews had to make that sacrifice. Rather than convert to another religion or be forced to convert to another religion, they gave up their Judaism. They chose to give up their lives rather than leave their religion. To be honest and reflective, too many Jews today are not willing to sacrifice or give anything up that's significant. I'll give you one example. Take the kosher laws. Despite the kosher laws, we just love our shrimp, and we just love our lobster, or our bacon, or our cheeseburger. We love it too much. We just got to have it. And you know me, so many of you know me. In no way am I here to castigate anybody. But my job as a rabbi, if I'm a good rabbi, I hold a mirror up to the congregation, just as I hold a mirror to myself. And I ask a question. I ask the question, isn't part of my job to encourage congregants and myself to think about areas in our lives where we might grow as Jews? I would be doing you a disservice, and I would be doing Judaism a disservice if I didn't do that. Jews in the Soviet Union, just 30 or 35 years ago, studied Hebrew underground at the risk of being thrown into prison for studying Hebrew. Anatoly Sharansky, you all know him as Natan Sharansky, was thrown into Lefortovo prison, spent 9 years in the Soviet Gulag for teaching Hebrew. That's what he was willing to sacrifice for his Judaism. People smuggled in mezuzot in the 1970s. Some of you in this room may have done that, so that a Soviet Jew could live their Judaism. It was 35 years ago. Each of us needs to ask, if we're not willing to give up something, if we're not willing to sacrifice something as basic as shrimp or as tasty as a cheeseburger. By the way, if it weren't tasty and it weren't delicious, you wouldn't be a big deal to give it up. The Talmud teaches something extraordinary. We're not supposed to give it up because we don't like it. We're supposed to crave it and give it up because God asks us to. Years ago, when I lived in New York, there was a greasy spoon. There's a lot of greasy spoons in New York, and there's a lot of great restaurants in New York. There was a greasy spoon where the grill was right against the window. So not only was the spoon greasy, the grill was greasy. And every time you walked by, you could smell that bacon grilling. And I was walking one time with someone, and he said to me, "Boy, David," he said, "you must hate that. You must hate that smell. It must be awful to you." I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I want to go in there, take the cook aside, and just gobble all that up." It's easy to say no to something that you don't like. It's not easy to say something you want. But if we're unwilling to say no to shrimp or a cheeseburger or bacon or lobster. What's the message? And what's the message we're sending our children or our grandchildren? I just chose the kosher laws as one example. But we all relate to food. We all eat. And I know that these things hit home when we talk about them. I say this again. I say this, God forbid, in no way to impugn anybody. But I do say it in the hopes that we'll reflect on any parts of Judaism that we may not be observing and think about what role they might play in our lives going forward. If your father, since we're talking about Father's Day, told you that you're very important to him, but he spent his life watching television instead of working, instead of sacrificing to support you, what exactly would that love mean? If all he did in his spare time was to go out with his golfing buddies instead of sharing with your mom and helping to raise you, if he wasn't willing to give up anything to make some sacrifices for you, you might question his devotion or maybe even his love for you. If we say how much we love our country or we love Israel, but we're not willing to make some sacrifices for it, how much of it do we really love? And that's true for our religion too. And here's the great irony. When we begin to make some sacrifice, it brings us a love of that thing. When we sacrifice for our nation, our religion, Israel, or our loved ones, it doesn't move them away from us. It brings us closer to them. We love them more. So the next time you walk into our sanctuary and you see that auburn light behind me, that Ner Tamid, that eternal flame, I hope in some way that it reminds you of God's presence. It's a reminder of God's commitment to the Jewish people, that God will always be with us. And as we approach Father's Day on Sunday, if you had the blessing of a good and a devoted father, then take that moment. If your father is still with you, then take a moment to tell him how much you appreciate him. And if he is with you today only in memory, then still take a quiet moment to let him know how much you appreciate him. Let him know his love, his dedication, his sacrifice is a gift in your life. And let him know that just as the flame behind me will always be lit, that his presence will always be with you. Shabbat Shalom. On page 5, you'll find the Kiddush. May I ask that you please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו מצוותיו ורצבנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי הבנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
And 82.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות,
ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, 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 יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Think of memory, of course, not only in the present, but also in the past as well, as we come to the moment in our service where we remember loved ones who are no longer living. I invite any of you who are in the midst of the first week of mourning during the Shiva period, I invite you to rise. Those of you who are within 30 days of the loss of a loved one are invited to rise. Any of you who are here tonight for within 1 year or observing the yahrzeit of a loved one are invited to rise. So go around the room if you'll just share the name of your loved one and your relationship.
My uncles, William Siegel and Louis Ferson.
Invite the congregation to rise. You'll find page 294, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me Rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malhutei, b'chaye echon u'v'yom echon, u'v'chaye v'kol beit Yisrael, b'agala u'v'izman kari v'imru, Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Ulmei Almaya. Yitbarach V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei D'Kudsha Brichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata Ta'almiran Be'alma V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Bimru, Amen. Se shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, bimru, Amen. Please be seated. It's with joy that I welcome a distinguished, longtime, and wonderful member of our board of directors to share an announcement with you, Judy Niver.
Shabbat Shalom. It is my great pleasure to welcome you here tonight, representing the Stephen Wise Board of Directors. As you can see in our Wise Weekly, we have lots of events coming, and we would love you to join us on June 20th to hear Pulitzer Prize winner Bret Stephens of New York Times in dialogue with Rabbi Yoshi. There are things coming up all through the summer, and especially the wonderful Shabbat at the Beach, which will be August 4th. To learn more about other up-and-coming events, check thewisela.org. Please feel free to contact me after services if you have any questions. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I'd love to meet you and chat after services. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Judy. And since I'm already thanking people, I'd also like to acknowledge Sarah, Barbie, and Sarah again for really adding so much to making our service so beautiful. We're going to conclude with Adon Olam.
Why not?
That's why not. Page 321.
Why don't you stand up, move a little bit.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chepzo Kol Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Im Tochno Ra Ve'u Haya Ve'u Oved Ve'u Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chepzo Kol Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'hu Echad Ve'ein Sheni Ve'hamshila Le'achbira Beli Reishit Beli Tachlit Ve'lo Oz Ve'am Yisrael Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chepzo Kol Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'hu Eli Ve'chai Goali Ve'tzur Hevli Ve'etzara Ve'hu Nisi Umanos Li Menat Kosi Be'yom Ekra Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chepzo Kol Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Be'yado Av Kidruchi Be'et Ishan Ve'a'ira Ve'im Ruchi Yeviati Adonai Li Ve'lo Ira Adon Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chepzo Kol Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Shabbat Shalom Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz Shabbat Shalom